Dozenspeed Film Foundation video production is supported by viewers and members like you. Welcome to the third installment of my Delightful Little Visit series, a hopefully expanding collection of small local retail documentary videos with a special prerequisite of featuring a store's history direct from an owner on camera, something I can't always talk them into. This episode features one Mr. Tom Kempland talking about his store in Lemay, Missouri, Rediscover Antiques and Collectables, a business name that, amusingly to me, reduces the title of this film to a generic sentence. I feel compelled at this time to provide a big fat dose of context and transparency about how and why I got to make this video, which I normally try to steer away from in effort to not break any illusion of production. Yes, that's right, I'm going to talk about myself for nearly 5 minutes before getting to the subject of the film to tell you about some of my motivations for making videos like this, for full disclosure in a world where more than ever angles, grips, and ulterior motives seem standard. So feel free to skip ahead to the star of the show, I won't be offended, and hey, at least I warned you. I am from St. Louis, for better or for worse, and I'm not going to feel customarily ashamed about it. I wasn't born here, I didn't choose to live here, but I haven't left upon given the option yet either. It frustrates me, although to be fair that's just a localized version of universal human societal annoyances, and I can get tired of it, but I imagine I will always have a love for it. As far back as high school, one thing I've always liked to do more than most anything else upon getting a hold of some wheels is take a country drive with my best girl on a beautiful day, feeling free to go where we please, seeking space and serenity offered by the sights and sounds of rustic rural Americana, taking lunch in a retro diner or a browse through a shop or two, and increasingly with age, more interested in the local obscure history of a charming small town or underdog burg. This is an activity I hope to do even more of going forward, in contrast to the rather dry spell I've been experiencing as of late thanks to economic circumstances. Yet it is still a relatively inexpensive pastime and a way to touch grass, as they say, that can offer a pretty positive appreciation for life when executed properly. By now, Mrs. Dozenspeed and I have been to more small towns and antique stores than I could ever hope to recount, most of the ones in our hometown and many in surrounding counties throughout eastern Missouri and southwestern Illinois, and even farther out along travels more than a day's ambition, always seeking opportunity to explore a new one to us. Finally, it occurred to me to take her to an antique store I've noticed many of the 231 times I've driven past but keep forgetting about right here in town. No further away than a typical errand, and that simple, exceptional in hindsight thought resulted in this video I proudly present. Hopefully by now it is obvious from several selections in my portfolio I like to support shopping small and local, even though it is a bad habit for my budget. For most of us it isn't pragmatic anymore to source all our material needs from an ever-shrinking economic model, and I certainly can't justify buying overpriced toilet paper at a mom and pop. But if you think about it, big scale-to-cost stores and that intoxicating vice known as online shopping offer a straight line to a mundane chore, which frees up time, money, and energy for those who still enjoy the shopping pleasures of brick, mortar, and cash, which now sounds like the name of a progressive rock band from the 1970s. However small efforts can be made here and there, a few ways we do our best to adopt the practice include finding gifts for people. Antique stores and specialty shops can be great places to find unusual collectibles, decor, and even food items quite specific to the interests of the person you are buying for, and a way to show you put thought into it. Another is getting some of our shelf-stable foodstuffs such as jams, jellies, salsas, dressings, marinades, and things like that from a country store or specialty market. There's definitely a premium, but that extra money is quite probably supporting someone's passion and livelihood, includes the cost of the experience, and delivers variety to the cupboard. I feel like I'm rambling, but the point I'm trying to make is I want to share and encourage this philosophy as a healthy for the soul contrast to the busy and frantic stresses of life. With all that established, I also want everyone to know that I make these videos without a business model, or at least with a very poor example of one as per policy. and I wasn't paid or sponsored to make this. While this may possibly occur in future circumstances, it hasn't happened yet. If you are one of the 38 people who watched my money video, you might remember the long-winded, tongue-in-cheek, but also very serious explanation as to why I operate this way, and of course it is still available to watch for anyone interested. As in most cases of my pieces like this to date, this film really is the result of spontaneously visiting a shop, with camera at hand of course, arriving unannounced and somehow sweet-talking my way into consent to make a film about it on the spot, and as you will see in this case, even capture a genuine moment from the owner themselves, recording their story and place in history on film for future generations. While the production quality is low perhaps, you'll be hard-pressed to find much more authenticity. If you are or someone you know is a proud owner of a business in the greater St. Louis metro area and would be interested in being a part of this series, please send an email for consideration. If selected, I'll do my best to be low intrusion, make you look good, and there is no financial obligation. Perhaps just a hint of unspoken guilt trip. At worst, your results may vary. Well, that's more than enough about me. Let me tell you about this guy, Tom Kempland, who owns Rediscover Antiques and Collectables, and will be imparting just some of his interesting experiences and knowledge about this store, memorabilia, and his trading career overall. While I have only met him this once and spent just around an hour or so listening to his stories, I'm pretty sure you will also conclude what we have here is a real salt-of-the-earth St. Louisan, even if he is looking to escape and retire. Words cannot describe the exuberance I felt recording this humble but honest cache of vintage nostalgia hidden in plain urban sight, a description befitting not only this micro-emporium of random consumer artifacts, but also of the gentleman I found running it. He was a great sport and not inexperienced with being interviewed and ending up on YouTube, as he was featured in a local PBS Channel 9 spot uploaded in 2009, where he discusses discovering a collection of crazy rare glass photographic plates at a garage sale, some of which have been since published in specialty books around the world. While Tom contributes this bounty of candid anecdotes you are about to see for the Dozenspeed archive of St. Louis historical posterity, he kept going rather enthusiastically after filming and beyond what the camera equipment was up for at the time. So I'm going to have to include some of those details in the following summary, after which Mr. Kempland himself will elaborate. The building located here at 9912 South Broadway with this rather awkward parking lot entrance was bought to be the retail location for Rediscover Antiques in 2013, and after 12 memorable, mostly happy years warding off the perils of owning a small business, like government hoops and operational expenses, the time has come to take the next step forward. Prompted by sharply rising taxes, a desire to improve his life balance with family in his advancing years, and perhaps the most self-preserving reason, the fact he has to keep repairing the building when people crash a car into it. The first of 3 incidents in a little more than a decade came on just the 4th day he was open, with the latest occurring in 2024 while 2 guys were working on the awning in front of the building, tragically resulting in a fatality, and most likely would have involved Mr. Kempland himself, who had just been out front talking with the 2 men but had gone inside just moments before. After this final straw, as he called it, he elected not to replace the sign again, and after one more pedantic permit problem from the county about just how he was allowed or not to restore the front of the building just like it was before, he found renewed interest in his pursuit for a better location, even though the sign up front reads retirement sale. I sense he isn't really ready to stop yet, talking about plans of spreading out into the next county, with lower taxes, regulatory obstacles, and enough space to empty out his basement of inventory, needing to find a temporary home in the display case. While sports cards and other related memorabilia are his forte, and he will make a deal, everything else is 50% off, as understandably it's easier to sell it than move it. I encourage anyone willing and able to adventure down there for themselves. It's quite likely there's some small token there to strike your fancy, and time is limited for this store one way or another. So go while you can, because the jury of fate is still out on whether or not a bigger, brighter store will ever happen. I think that would be great and would like to see it, but understand if Tom chooses to take life easier after all he's been through. And now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I present Mr. Tom Kempland. Thank you for watching.
Hi, my name is Tom Kempland. Me and my wife Barbara, we own Rediscover Antiques and Collectables. We're in Lemay on South Broadway. We've been here in this building since 2013, but we've been doing buying and selling for over 40 years. We specialize mostly in sports memorabilia and other collectibles. We'd love to do furniture, but we don't have room. We deal mostly in smalls. We have some old toys, stuff from the turn of the century all the way to present. My background is paper collectibles, old postcards, sports cards, paper advertising. But we do have a lot of different items in here. We do a lot of t-shirts. People like old t-shirts, especially anything to do with Harley Davidson or KC95 or old concert t-shirts. Got a lot of our stuff by going through auctions and estate sales. Every Wednesday was garage sale day because there was a newspaper called the Journal, the County Journal. And we would take the Journal Tuesday night, go through the Journal, mark down all the garage sales in South County and South City, get up early Wednesday morning, go to all the garage sales we could get to. On Saturday, we would go to auctions down in Southern Illinois, and on Sunday, half-price day at estate sales. We enjoy seeing people coming in and finding stuff that they really enjoy, something they haven't been looking for years. People bring stuff in to sell all the time. It's a real good experience to deal with people face to face. We do sell online, but we do prefer in-person sales. It's just nice seeing people that we've been selling stuff to for over 20 years still come see us. People that we grew up with, people that we worked with, people that lived in our neighborhood. It's just fun seeing old faces drop by that we haven't seen in years. Well, what we'd like to do is we've run out of space here. We'd like to find a bigger building. I'd like to get out of St. Louis County. They've raised our real estate taxes to over $5,000 a year. We'd like to go south, probably Jefferson County. We'd like less hours so we can spend more time off. When you own your own business, it's not a regular 40-hour work week. You're tied down to that business 24/7 sometimes. People want to get a hold of you. They want to talk about something. They may want to try to call you. We get a lot of calls for like dowels. I don't know anything about dowels, so I just try to send them someplace else where they can find out more information about dowels. I don't do coins, but I do have a very good coin guy that we send people to. His name's Bob. They just love him. He treats them real well. We don't do jewelry because I really don't know much about jewelry. My wife, she does a lot of children's books, especially the kind with the pop-ups. She really loves those. Like I said, my background is sports memorabilia. It's probably 65% of our sales. People in St. Louis, they love their teams. They love the Cardinals. They love the Blues. So we get a lot of repeat customers on that. But we also sell other things. Every day is different here. If I knew just what people wanted, that's all we would have bought, And being a veteran myself, I'm a U.S. Navy veteran from the Vietnam War. I'm retired from McDonnell Douglas Boeing. So I get a lot of veterans that stop in from the barracks, that we're up at the barracks, they come by. A lot of veterans I work with come by and see us. We do sell some military collectibles. I had a guy in here yesterday that bought a bunch of stuff he just hired on at Boeing. He bought a bunch of patches and stickers from McDonnell Douglas. All right, we're selling anything that's not sports related at half off. The more I sell, the less I got to pack up and move. We would like to have more space. I would like to have an area that's at least 2,000 square feet. I'd like to clear out my garage, my basement, clear this place out, and put more stuff out, because if it's in a box or in a room somewhere, people can't buy it if they can't see it. And we like to keep the local stuff here local. I'll have stuff from different areas in St. Louis, Afton, Lemay, Kirkwood. And we like to keep those items here in St. Louis. Stuff that has nothing to do with St. Louis, we sell online. We put it on eBay, or we'll put it on Facebook Marketplace. But we like to keep the local stuff here for local collectors. A lot of this people have connection to. They'll find an ashtray. Oh, we used to eat at this restaurant. Or they'll find another item. My dad used to work here. Or my neighbor worked here. Or grandma had a glass like this. I had a bunch of those anodized aluminum glasses, all the colored ones. Oh. Some gal came and bought all those. She said, my grandma used to have these, man. They're really, I've been looking all over for these, And so people usually find some sort of connection to the different items they find, Or it's just something that just catches their eye. They'll come in here looking for one thing they've seen on Marketplace, and they start seeing how much is in here. They say, oh, wow, I didn't know you had this, And they just start, picking up different stuff that they didn't really intend to come in and get, that just caught their eye, I had one lady go through these boxes where the postcards are, and she was pulling out postcards from Hawaii. I said, oh, you didn't take no pictures on your vacation? She says, no. She says, I'm having a tiki party, and I'm using these postcards as invitations. Because she got ones that were never used that she could still use. So she was using them for invitation to a party. I had another lady, I had a whole lot of these wooden cigar boxes, and she came in and bought all the flat ones. I had these big flat ones. She was making purses out of those, and out of the rectangular ones, she was making little jewelry boxes. So people, they can look at something and do something with it that you wouldn't even think they were doing with it. We try to keep things close together. This case over here is transportation, car stuff, airplane stuff, motorcycle stuff. This case here is military, fire, police, political, Boy Scout, Girl Scout. This case over here is radio, TV, movie. Here we have whiskey and beer and soda items over here. The St. Louis stuff with here. Here's some old Valve Opera Parade stuff here. There's some matchbooks from companies ain't here no more. There's some Six Flags patches here. A lot of ashtrays from companies that are no longer here. We got Chronolet Savings, St. John's Bank, Gravois Bank, just different St. Louis stuff that we have here. Illinois over here, just other different souvenir stuff. This case is mostly vintage Cardinal stuff. We got some aliens and some spacemen, patches from different space programs, and some of the Raisin Boys here. This case is toy soldiers, toy Indians, cowboys, Star Wars, Star Trek, Superman, different superhero stuff in here. A lot of small cars, some more Tootsie Toys, Tootsie Toy cars, some vintage aluminum ware. We got some other kitchen items here, some metal meat grinders here, so you can make your own sausage. Or a lot of people use them. They hunt deer and make their deer sausage with them. I've even seen a couple guys hook up a drill to them so they don't have to crank them by hand. We have some bottles here, some old applied soda bottles. They call these ACL bottles. They got the applied on there. They don't have paper labels. Some more kitchen items, miscellaneous paper items here, some more postcards. We have some old beer coasters there. Some more paper items here. Some hockey collectibles down here. Some Mizzou Tiger stuff. Some Kentucky Derby glasses. Some hockey pucks. Here we have some antique shooting medals here. And some what they call church keys or can openers here. Here we have some vintage ads out of Life magazine from the 40s, 50s, and early 60s. Some automotive ones. Over here we have some beer and soda ones, cereal, movie stars with beer. Some the Pepsi ones are real popular. We have movie stars with cigarettes. Here's a good one here. Here's Marlena Dietrich with Lucky Strike. Can't get better than that. I enjoy person to person. In fact, people on Marketplace will say, will you ship? I said, no. I do just local walk-ins. You know, on eBay, I just do sell some items on there, mostly old photographs that have nothing to do with the area. Some sports cards, patches, stuff that's non-breakable, small items. Just to keep my hand into eBay stuff. But mostly, I like doing local. I enjoy when somebody really finds something that they've been looking for years, or it's just something they just caught their eye and they really like. I go on them every day, look under Missouri Commercial Real Estate for Sale. We looked at a building in Hillsboro. Square footage size was okay, but it was broken up with offices, and the main showing area wasn't much bigger than what I got here. It was laid out different. It was more rectangular. This is more square. This used to be a little girl's dance studio. That's why there's mirrors on the wall here. And it's sat empty for a pretty long time. The mother died, And the father died, and the mother died, and so the two brothers owned the building. And they thought they could get for what their dad paid for the building. No way. This is Lemay. The building sat for empty for 5 or 6 years. So I made him an offer. One of the brothers that had power of attorney pulled the trigger on it. The other brother wasn't too happy. And then so I had to go with the county. The thing was zoned wrong. It was zoned R5, a residential district. This is a commercial building. This building used to be Riley Electric. It was built in 1955. And then eventually it became the dance studio after Riley Electric moved. So St. Louis County, every time I went down there was something else I had to do. I had to get engineering drawings for each one of the members on the board. Not just one engineering drawing and make copies myself. They all had to be stamped engineering drawings, which was very expensive, $125 a piece. I had to get 6 of them. Well, then they didn't like how the parking lot was laid out. And you can't get a business license until the parking lot is approved. So I had to have it come out and have it redrawn on engineering drawings again. And then I had to have it striped, and they came out and inspected it. And then they made me put this fence back there, so if somebody pulled in at nighttime, their headlights wouldn't go into the backyard here. So every time I thought I was ready to open a business, St. Louis County had something else I had to do. They don't tell you all this ahead of time. They just keep adding stuff to what you got to do to open up for business. And what's really funny is the business license is only $5. But you got to show a paid personal property tax payment to get the business license. And the personal property tax includes all your fixtures, the computer, the cash register, which I don't even use, all that stuff. And then after so many years, it depreciates. But once it depreciates, it stays at that level, and it doesn't go any cheaper. So you got to take your personal property tax receipt to show them you paid personal property tax to get your business license every year. So St. Louis County is not the friendliest people to deal with. You would imagine with all the empty things. Well, the first thing they told me when I went up there was, "Oh, your type of business, we would like that to be up on Lemay Ferry." I said, "Well, guess what? My business building ain't on Lemay Ferry." He says, "Well, you're down there with all this automotive stuff, tire place, car repair shops. There's a steering wheel place down here to fix the steering wheels. All the way down is all automotive almost." But this was a building I could afford. You know, I couldn't be choosy where I wanted to go. I looked in the city of St. Louis, but St. Louis has even more regulations than the county. And I couldn't find nothing in the city that I was happy with. And then we did look at Jefferson County at the time, and we almost made a deal down in Festus Crystal City, but the guy wouldn't negotiate the price. So his building sat empty for a long time after we made the offer. And I do all my accounting old school on paper. I don't use online. So then I work all that out, and then I have a cousin who's a tax lawyer and a CPA. He does my taxes, so I know he won't let you take anything that's iffy, you know. He says you're better off paying a little bit more tax-wise than getting audited. So people don't understand when you own your own business, all this other stuff you either got to learn how to do yourself or find somebody you can trust to do it for you. Now here's another thing too, is I will help other business people to come in here. I get calls all the time. People got something they want to get rid of, and it's something I don't deal in. I'll tell them where they can take it. You know, like the people with the dolls, I say, call the big antique malls. See if they have a dealer that specializes in dolls. They will know what you have. They will know what the market is, and they will pay more than somebody just buys a little bit of everything. What's good about it is they may call you back on something you do want. So you have to treat these people nicely. And some customers you get in here, I get a lot of weirdos in here because this is Lemay. There's a bus stop across there. They come in here and want to know if I have a soda machine, or, you know, can they do this, you know. And I do get some sketchy people in here. I just try to treat them with some kind of respect and try to move them out of here as fast as I can. You know, I don't get in arguments with them or anything. I just try to be nice to them. These are called Carte de Vis, Civil War era. And some of them even have the revenue stamps on the back. But these are old photographs, and what they would do is they would pose the people with something to hold them still, a brace behind them, so the pictures had long exposures, and so they wouldn't get a blurry picture. So after that, the next level was what they call cabinet cards. These are a little bit bigger, and they're from different studios all over the place. And you also have some, here's some local ones from St. Louis. And the real popular ones are the ones that have the real nice backs. And as they got newer, they got cheaper where they didn't have nothing on the back. But the ones with the artwork on the back are more desirable. And these are from the late 1800s to the early turn of the century.